So I'm leading the column, and we're walking. He says, if you get to the river, stop because you've gone too far. So while you're walking along, there's action going on around you. Artillery units are setting up parachute flares. So if you're in a position, you can call for illumination if you think you've got VC around you, and the artillery will shoot up parachute flares, mortar flares, and these things will come down and light up the area around wherever they shot those flares. But if you're out walking around, you don't want to be silhouetted against any skyline. So when the flare comes off, you stop, you kneel down, and you try to blend into the background. So we're walking along, I'm walking along, flares were shooting off. We stop, I stop. Flares die down, we continue walking, we get to this hedgerow of path makes a turn off to the right. And it goes through this, what looks like a village. Turns out that the village has been abandoned, but all the lot lines are still in place. All the plots were outlined by hedges and bushes and so forth. Path of the trail went right down the middle of these lot lines. So I start walking along. It's point man. In point man, you got your you have a round in the chamber. You have your safety on, and you expect to be walking into an ambush. You expect to see somebody out there to shoot. So we start walking through this village, this abandoned village, and I get past the first plot of land, of home site, so to speak, and I stop and I look back. I turn around and I look back, and Sergeant Denny's got the column stopped at the first place where we stopped, and I think, he's waiting to see if I make it to the next hedgerow without getting shot and killed. Turn around and I look, and he's got them all stopped. They're knelt down, waiting to see if I make it to the next hedgerow. So I keep walking, nothing happens. I keep walking, nothing happens. I think, man, this is a good spot for an ambush. And that's why he picked it, because it was a good spot for an ambush. So we get to a point where we stop. He brings all the column up, and we go on one side of the trail. The river's to our back, and we sit parallel to the trail, and we just crouch down behind these bushes. And John Hasselbauer is to my left. Douglas Dennis is to my right. These are guys that I hung around with. And the rest of the squad was further out. Sergeant Denning was down at the beginning of the first row of people. And so you're there and you wait. You've been up all morning, you've been up all day, you're up all night now. It's wet, it's cold, it's raining, and it's dark. And you try not to doze off. And we're sitting there, and all of a sudden I see in front of me, maybe from here to the door, away from me, a coolie hat, one of those conical bamboo hats that they wear over there. And I think, that's not right. That's not a good thing to see at the moment. That's somebody walking in our ambush. Because I remember thinking, as I'm bringing my M16 up, I'm thinking, man, I'm going to shoot somebody the first time in my life. But I'm going to actually shoot somebody, and that bullet's going to go through and tear them apart. And I remember these thoughts. And just at the same time, John Hasselbauer brings up his M79 grenade launcher. He's got it loaded with a shotgun shell, and the bore on that's about so big, and it shoots at this pattern of BBs. It would just devastate anybody that was close enough to it. And I bring up my M16 and I think, why isn't anybody shooting? Am I going to be the first one to shoot? And John brings up his M79 and he pulls the trigger and it goes click, misfire. And I go, shit. They certainly heard that if they're in front of me. So I then start firing. Bam, 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 swinging from left to right. John breaks his M79 down, pulls it out, puts it in, brings it back at you. Kaboom! This M79 BB or a shotgun pattern goes out and devastates the foliage around us. And Willie Garrison opens up with the M60, starts blasting away with the M60 machine gun. So that goes on for 10 minutes or so, 15 minutes maybe. And then Sergeant Denning calls for ceasefire. So I'm thinking, okay, they know where we are. We should move to a different spot because they know where we are because we just unloaded a ship full of ammo. So he says, no, we'll stay here. So we stayed there for the rest of the night until morning when Sergeant Denning sends me and Douglas Dennis out to be like an outpost a few 100 yards away from the rest of the squad to be as lookouts for anybody that's hanging around or coming around. And that's where Dennis took the picture with my camera of me standing in the jungle. And turns out that was the 20th of December. I saw that from the Tactical Operations Center reports that I was able to download here recently. My first ambush, first time I would have shot at somebody. And so Dennis and I come back to the group and there's something going on. I don't know what's going on exactly, but there's some Vietnamese there. I don't know where these guys came from.